Hi folks, today I want to talk to you about how to lay out a set of stairs. Okay folks, so when we calculate stairs, we have to have a couple key numbers. One of those numbers is the rise. How far from one floor to the other floor? From the top of the floor to the top of the other floor. If this was a basement, the basement floor to the top of the first floor. That is our rise. The second number we need is the run. Our run is the opening that stairway will go in from one edge to the other. If we have only so big of an opening, we have to fit those stairs in, this becomes very important. If we don't, if it could just go on forever or wherever it needs to stop, it's not that big of a deal. But these are our two numbers that we need. We need a rise and we need a run. So here, we're gonna have these numbers pulled out hypothetically. We have a rise of 103 inches. We have a run of 130 inches. Now, do we have, what kind of board will we need for a stringer? Well, let's use Pythagorean theorem. Our rise is 103 squared. Our run is 130 squared. And that will give us c squared once we square root it. So 103 squared plus 130 squared equals c squared. We'll do the math on that and then figure out what our hypotenuse or how big of a board we need for our stair stringer. So now we can figure out how big our actual steps are. So what we are going to do is take 103, we're going to take our 103 rise, and we're going to divide that by, we'll say 7 1/4. So we're going to take our calculation of 103, our rise, and divide that by our step rise. That's just a pretty good standard step. So 7 1/4, 7.25, is a very common step-to-step rise. So we're going to take those numbers, divide 103 by 7.25, and that gives us, so we have 14 and change, basically. So we will then go ahead and write our 14.2. Well, that's how many steps we're going to have. That's how many rises in this staircase that we will need. Well, you can't have 14.2, so we can either go 14 or we can go 15. It depends on what this number is. If we say we want 14 steps, that will make this a little bigger. So 103 divided by 14 gives us 7.35. So what is that in fraction? Well, 0.375 equals 3/8. So we're going to be at 7 3/8 step, which is pretty common, very common. You don't want over 8, and you don't want under like a 6, because that makes for a very small step. You'll notice sometimes you'll walk up some steps, and they're very short steps. Those are below 6. You'll notice sometimes you walk up some very steep steps. Those are probably over 8. So our 7 3/8 is a good stair step. So we will have 14 steps at 7
3/8.
So thanks for watching today, folks. Now you know how to calculate. Sometimes this takes actually doing it. So in the next video, we're going to look at how to lay that out on an actual board.